The time is 5:31. Good morning and thank you for tuning into Daybreak. Today is Friday, June the 20th.
And if you love to fish, you can leave your bait bucket at home. We'll show you a technique that is bait-free.
Welcome back. It's now time. The time is now 6:15.
Yeah, in a little bit we'll be going fly fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A woman with a poipus. I'm sorry.
No, this is a fish.
By the way, you really can't tell on TV, but this is a fake fish. This is not a real fish.
It doesn't smell fake, Fred. Now we're going to be headed out to our friend Ed Mugford in a little bit for some tips on fly fishing, which is very apropos for this time of year. Lots of folks spending time on the water.
Welcome back. It's now 6:23. Well, summer is here and water sports are just the ticket for some cooling off. And
with lakes and rivers all around us, no excuse not to get out on the water. And one sport that is catching on is fly fishing. And one of our co-workers, Ed Mugford, is an avid fly fisherman. So we thought we'd invite him on this morning for a few pointers. Good morning to you, Ed.
Just kidding. Thank you very much.
Okay, now, first of all, tell us what's the thrill of fly fishing? What makes fly fishing different?
The thrill of fly fishing is pretty much you're just getting to go out in nature and, just kind of float around and aimlessly wave this stick around with some string on it in hopes that you really catch something. And it's just very relaxing. There's no phone calls to make, no bills to be paid. You're just out cruising around.
Now, we're used to going out fishing, taking out your bait bucket and your crawlers and all of that. What kind of equipment do you need for fly fishing?
Fly fishing, first of all, you need a fly rod. And fly rods are generally, they all run about, well, let's say 9 feet long on average. So your rod is going to be longer. It's a little bit whippier. Some people refer to us as buggy whippers because it's very much the same idea. And you've got your fly line, which in bait casting, the bait pulls the line out. In fly fishing, the line is weighted because your flies are so very small, so tiny, and so the weight of the line has to carry the fly out. So that's why you see people doing all this stuff, because you're trying to build up momentum and weight in that line to propel that fly out there.
So you pretty much just cast it out and wait for the fish to hit it on the surface?
Well, no, you cast it out, and then there's a thing that we do called stripping line, and so I'm like stripping line right now, and so that's bringing the line and the little popper like I've got back to you, and the fish sees this little thing skittering across the top of the water, and it's hammer time.
Now we have you out on Lake Austin, but are there any special spots for fly fishing in Central Texas?
Oh, sure. I mean, if you want to chase trout, if you're a trout bum, you can hit like the Guadalupe, for example. Bass, I mean, anywhere there's water and some fish, like not Deep Eddy swimming pool, but there's bass, there's perch, anything. If it's a fish, you can catch on a fly rod, even saltwater, which is what I'm really into, is saltwater fly fishing.
Well, we'll talk more about that in our next half hour.
Super, thanks, Fred. Where have you been?
Where have I been?
Yes.
I was on a secret mission.
Oh, you're going to tell us about that.
We'll talk more in our next half hour.
Thank you.
And for more information, by the way, you might check with the Austin Angler, and they're at 472-4553. Now 6:43, when you think of fishing, do you conjure up images of baiting your hook with a slimy, crawly creature? Friends, it doesn't have to be that way. One of our co-workers, Ed Mugford, has discovered the joys of fly fishing, and he says you can do it right here in Central Texas. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Fred. How are you doing this morning?
Doing all right, and you're out on Lake Austin this morning. How is it out there?
It's great. Looks like mostly cloudy skies, a 70% chance of heavy isolated blah.
Tell us about fly fishing. How did you get into it? Why did you get into fly fishing?
My dad had some old fly rods sitting around the house, and so I picked them up, and I just happened to be one of those that was just a natural. I just picked up on it real quick, so I just kind of carried it on from there. So then I started off with just his old cheap Sears fly rods, and now I'm up to like almost $1,000 with this high-tech thing. But that's after about 3 or 4 years of really reading and studying and talking to people, going to seminars and watching TV shows, and it's a good rod. It's what I need, and so no one should be spooked away by the price of the equipment, because you can go to your favorite sporting goods store right here in Austin. There's a big chain of them. And you get a good fly rod, line and reel and everything for about $30.
Now, we were thinking about that movie, A River Runs Through It, but you were telling me that you can also go fly fishing out in the Gulf.
Oh, yes, sir. Saltwater fly fishing. A lot of the bait that's used by regular bait and spin casters is just so heavy that when you're on the flats with these vast expanses of shallow water and you launch this big missile out there and it hits the water and it splashes, it's going to scare the redfish. But with a fly rod, you can take a little fly that looks like the shrimp and crabs that they're eating on and just gingerly flip it right out there, and it's called stalking or wade fishing. And the fly rod is just absolutely perfect, and because it's so long and whippy, the fight is all that more dramatic.
Now, do you need any particular license or permits to take up this kind of sport?
Yes, sir, you do. That's a very good question. You do need a Texas fishing license. I think I've forgotten the price offhand, maybe $15, $17. You can get those in any area sporting goods store or the Austin Angler. If you're going to go for trout on the Guadalupe, you'll need a trout stamp. I believe that's an additional $7. And if you're going to go saltwater fishing, you will need to buy a saltwater stamp as well. That's an additional $7. And all the money that you spend on your licenses goes back to restocking fish, say trout in the Guadalupe, or rebuilding the redfish population on the coast. So there's plenty of fish for tomorrow. And that's another good thing is catch and release. If you catch something, take a picture and get it back in the water gently, and let's all be able to let our kids fish in the future.
Well, Ed, thank you very much for being with us at Daybreak.
Thank you, Fred, for rowing out here next to me. It's been joyful.
All right, and folks, if you'd like more information on fly fishing, one place to call is the Austin Angler.
Welcome back. It's almost 6:50 and it's Friday.
That's right, and if my wife saw the last segment, she will want me to take her fishing. Looks like nice weather, though.
Mm-hmm. It is going to be nice weather, and that's certainly a great sport. Ed did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
We get to work with him every morning. He's just a blast.
He's a crack up.
He is, and we still have our little fish here on the set to remember Ed by, because he's not here this morning. He's obviously out fishing, and we're here working.
That's right.
All right, the weather forecast for today, a little bit of fog and cloud cover this morning.
And I think Fred's figured out a new way to do the accessorizing.
Yeah, when I was looking at some of these flies, I was thinking, hey, I see it.
Hey, that's great.
Look, and there's
This
one
one
for
matches
you.
me, yeah.
All right, 6:28 is our time. And very quickly, just wanted to do it. Yeah, I do have it on. Okay, very quickly, I did want to congratulate our fine tape operator, Ed Mugford.
Who's becoming extremely popular, I
He got
might
his
add.
picture in the paper today.
Look at
Take
that.
a look. And that's his classic version of the pocket fisherman that he always carries with him. It
But I tell you
really
what-
it stretches out, doesn't it?
He looks like he's just and a river runs through it.
Yes, he does. And he really loves that
He
fly
does
fishing.
love fishing.
All right.